Right, I want to talk about another important issue and another great champion in this part of the world. Right, okay, so you want a new shirt, pair of trousers, skirt, straightforward. You know your size, you go, and that's it. Go online. What if you have a disability, folks? It's not always as straightforward as that. Recognising this problem, Emma McClelland founded Kintsugi, I think I've said it right, a brand which makes clothes for people who live with various disabilities. She joins me, along with Dermot Devlin, the Vice Chair of Fermanagh and Omagh District Council Disability Advisory Group and long-standing campaigner. Lovely to have you both on. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome, Emma. Dermot, can I come to you firstly? Emma, I've referred to what you're both up to here really as pioneers, and Emma deserves great credit, I would have thought.
No, it definitely is, because up until now there has been very little options, or no options at all, for disabled people when it comes to getting clothes, particularly fashionable clothes that fits and comfortable, and the very fashionable and trendy like non-disabled people would wear on a day-to-day, and especially at the weekend. So what she's doing is absolutely commendable and great to see.
Take us back to your school days, Dermot, and what was it like getting a pair of trousers or a blazer?
Well, for myself, it was mainly would have to either, number one, I really had two options: either go for a size pair of trousers, which for maybe somebody who was in their teen years wouldn't have been sort of all that comfortable to wear in the sense of feeling not fashionable, or I would have to get an adult pair of trousers that might be a wee bit more fashionable, but then have to get them tailored and cut up to fit my size, because somebody listening might be aware that I'm a wheelchair user and I'm just over 3 foot tall, so there's very little option for me, not only in terms of comfortable and fitting for a wheelchair, but also for my size as well.
Gotcha. But I like your hat. Well, put your hat up. You're wearing a very I have a hat like that, Dermot, and the older I get, the more it becomes a part of my life. It's something as the wee Pandora, or what do you call them, a fedora or whatever. What do you call them?
So there's many hats now, but I think lucky now some people call me the man from Del Monte.
The man from what?
Del Monte.
Del Monte. Aye, it's a man from Del Monte hat. It is, surely. Emma, thank you for joining us today. Emma, your thing wasn't fabric design and fashion though at the start, was it?
No. My background is in originally features writing, and then and playwriting, and then I kind of sold out and went into corporate communications after that.
Right.
Yeah, so that's my background. Not really in fashion at all.
So did you go for the money direction?
Yeah, I did. I'm afraid that's the truth. There's not much money in playwriting.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. Kintsugi, as I have it here, is the art of repairing pottery, Emma, in Japan. So what's happening here?
Oh, so the name Kintsugi, it's, as you mentioned, the Japanese art form of mending broken pottery with gold. It's kind of a philosophy that, in life we kind of pick up scars, either kind of physical or emotional, but, they don't need to be concealed. They don't need to be hidden. They should be embraced. They're what make you unique. So as a philosophy, I thought, you know what, that's perfect. That's why I picked that as the name.
Talk about Velcro and wheelchair-friendly approaches and colostomy bags and stuff like that, Emma.
So this is the thing. I mean, I kind of founded the company after seeing a TED Talk about the sort of small design changes that people could make to clothes that would make them more accessible. And, it's stuff like you mentioned, fastenings like Velcro or kind of magnets. So we'll have things that are really subtle that you can't tell that are any different from any other piece of clothing. So it'll be things like magnetic fastenings instead of buttons. For people with dexterity challenges, or it will be things like relocating pockets. So for a wheelchair user, you can't really if you think about your pockets, they're at hip level on your jeans, which is fine when you're standing up, but when you're sitting down, they're not accessible. So we'd shift the pockets down slightly to the calf level. It's just small things like that, really.
It sounds expensive.
For us as manufacturers?
Well, no, anytime I go to get wee bits and pieces fixed or a zip changed, I'm always surprised. It takes time to do these things.
Yeah, I mean, it does make the manufacturing process a little bit more complicated in terms of us communicating these ideas to manufacturers. I mean, they're not really used to working with, if you say with like this internal pouch to be able to accommodate an ostomy bag, they're not used to getting that request. So yeah, it does complicate things slightly, but yeah, it's been a really exciting journey.
Dermot, we've talked down the years about social attitudes to everything, for goodness sake, transport and pints and coronavirus and everything. What are the social attitudes around this when it comes to the clothing you wear in your daily life and or out to the pub for that matter? A big night out?
Well, for myself, as I said earlier, it's very hard to get clothes at the fashionable, so I do end up wearing stuff that would be sort of like a lot of times, sort of whether we Marvel or DC or something, maybe something that's slightly Disney-esque and stuff like that. So it's very hard to get something, and I wear like tracksuit bottoms rather than jeans and stuff like that. Now, I do would have maybe a few casual shirts and casual t-shirts and stuff like that there, but it does mean then that I'd have to get them at an adult size and get cut up into a size that fits me well, not only because I'm as a wheelchair user that it fits up the wheelchair, but also because of my size as well. So there is that added extra of the cost. Like there's one example that happened with one of the things that I find impossible to do is to put on shoes and take them off myself and get them tied. So, for example, I don't know if I can mention the company by name, on the BBC or that, but there's a global company actually brought out a pair of shoes that accessible for disabled people. Last year, at the beginning of the year.
Much a pair?
It was £175, I believe it was. However, there was only a limited number, and they were bought up, majority of them by non-disabled people, and quite a lot of them ended up being resold on the internet for prices up to £2,000 and beyond.
Wow.
So, even when stuff are made to be accessible stuff, they're not talking about, like the Emma and stuff like that, because it's doing great. But the bigger brands that, because it's got the big labels, the people are coming in and buying them, and they've been co-created and sold on.
They mop them up and profiteer. Dermot, do you know what? I'm just thinking about our conversation, do you remember, about cosplay, costume play. You're into that, and your body shape in that regard is, I would have thought, nearly pretty unique. You're a person of short stature. It allows you to play very specific roles, and I'm assuming that all plays into this conversation about what you wear, how you wear it, and your unique, statement.
It is, yeah. Well, I would do the cosplay end of the night, because it's going to be pretty one-off costume as well. So, it's going to be nice that it will be quite financially high at that stage. But when it comes to getting stuff off the shelf, it's nearly impossible to get something for my style. Like when I go into the big chains, even like Primark and stuff like that, there's the stuff I like isn't for my size. And then when I do find stuff that I like, then I either have to go without it or to buy it and then take it to a tailor and they'll actually try getting it done. And so that's why now you see me, I'm going around Omar and Green Castle and old t-shirts and tracksuit bottoms, because, unless I'm doing something specific, like a special function, I don't tend to buy a lot of new clothes unless it's for work purposes.
Dermot, always informative. Thank you for joining us. Emma, look, you're not a big global conglomerate yet, for goodness sake, but, I think you'd be commended today for, at least taking this forward. It's a conversation I don't think we've ever had on the radio.
Well, it's I'm one of a few, I guess, kind of small independent brands who are kind of doing this. Some of them are looking into menswear and stuff as well, which is great. So hopefully, yeah, you're right. There'll be a few of us growing a little bit over the coming years. Let's see.
Thank you both. Long-standing campaigner Dermot Devlin there, and clothes designer Emma McClelland. Kintsugi, Kintsugi. It's a Japanese philosophy. And the issue, getting, fitting clothes for people with different abilities.